We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Yanish. Councilmember Reese.
Here.
Christensen.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Amon. Johnson.
Here.
Dockin.
Here.
Fagerly. DeBleek.
Here.
6 present, 3 absent.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's tight there. Are there any proposed additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, let's go to the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Scheduled hearings. And the first one is an ordinance amending parts of our municipal code, section 15, regulating parking and violations. Chief Weifels.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Reese and members of the council. I'm here to request changes to our current parking ticket ordinance. It's based on 3 reasons. Number 1, to bring the ordinance up to date with current practices as it relates to parking enforcement within the city. Secondly, to bring our fine amounts into line with the same fine amounts that were presented and used on our administrative citation ordinance. And that was in 2003. And the third reason is to establish a reasonable amount of time to pay parking tickets without incurring a late fee. And I can delve deeper into each one of those 3 reasons if you wish me to do so. The proposed requested changes are brought forth by myself and have been reviewed by myself and City Attorney Rich Running. Also, just to let you know, I'm in the process of researching other ordinances that are commonly used by the police department that are either outdated or no longer have, are longer practical, I guess I should say, in relation to the current way that we run business within the city. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay. I guess now we just open it up for public comment, huh?
And any questions you have, I'd be happy to answer them.
And we'll take the public comment first, and then we'll see if there's any questions from the council members. Does anybody from the public want to speak towards this ordinance? Okay. Council members, any questions for Chief White?
Close the hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Close the hearing. And council members, do you have any questions for Chief Weifels? Doesn't look like it, so roll call. We need a motion. We need a motion to adopt first. Just moving along here.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would move that we adopt it, assign a number, and publish.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amon.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right. The next item is the Willmar City Council open forum. Kevin, does anybody sign up?
I believe there's someone has. 2 people.
2 people? John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I'm going to pass on out here. I usually don't. John Sullivan, 508 Southeast 13th Street, Willmar. Getting pretty good at that, aren't I? Anyway, what I'm here for tonight is there's been recently one councilman stated that he doesn't hear any outcry for transparency in the Willmar government are televising the committee meetings. Maybe he hasn't because the general public does not know what goes on with the committee meetings and the transfer of the information to minutes that are published for the full council in the packets and read at the following council meeting. If they knew, there might be more outcry. Excuse me. Case in point, at the community development meeting of February 17, 2011, I made several comments concerning the Western Interceptor, which is nice to be able to do, but there was no response or dialogue. During this specific meeting, Mayor Yanni spoke on the cost of televising the committee meetings, as stated in the minutes. However, the minutes did not state what he said, that the cost of filming and recording these meetings would be at no cost. And I know Mr. Almond brought that point up at one time. The only cost is the $120 price a month for the council meetings. This is an important element of his comment that the council members not present did not know about, nor the citizens that read the packet. Another case in point, at the Finance Committee meeting of February 28, 2011, during the open comments, I spoke to an error on an attachment of item number 4 presented in the February 16, 2010 to council concerning concept to help accelerate the repair and reconstruction of the city streets within the next 5 years. The second paragraph stated that the present local option sales tax expires in 2014. I made the correction that it in fact expires in 2012 if run to conclusion, of which Financial Director Olkins agreed. However, I see that the page I mentioned is not in the council packet online, so I'm assuming that it is also not in your packet. I included it with my comments. All the minutes say is that I spoke on the local option sales tax. Kind of yes, but that wasn't the purpose of my comment, only correcting an error that was made over a year ago and carried forward into 2011. Maybe this 2-year error was in error, but if not, it throws off the comments made by the administrator on page 4 of his PowerPoint. Also, you can't extend an existing local option sales tax, and you have to wait a year before presenting another one to the legislature. One more case in point, at the community development meeting on March 3rd, 2011, I spoke at the comment section and talked about the city not taking care of an amendment correcting the errors with the zoning ordinance concerning section 9 concerning conditional use permits, not PUDs as it states in the minutes. This is a very big difference. Two very different things. I brought this to the city's attention over a year ago. I looked back and it was actually in June, so it's not quite a year. And it was agreed that I was correct in that an appeal of a CPU cannot be brought to the Board of Zoning Appeal, but must go to district court. And I received a letter from staff member Peterson telling me that I was correct and that it would be changed, and it hasn't been yet. And I just hope and pray that we don't have another situation like West Wind or the pellet plant where we get bogged down in that kind of a turmoil again. So I just wanted to call that to your attention. 3 things that were misstated in the minutes that the public does not know about, that plead for transparency, and it pleads for doing the meetings here. Thank you.
Thank you, David, or John. The next person is David Herzer.
David Herzer, 1501 Country Club Drive, Willmar. I'm here tonight for 2 reasons. The first is to say thank you to you gentlemen, Mayor Pro Tem Reese and the councilman. You do a lot of long hours of hard work and seldom get somebody to say thank you for what you do. And I want to take just a moment to do that. Secondly, I'm here to be of help to you, not to give you more trouble. Each day we hear about the likelihood of closing down the federal government due to the inability of those we elect to reach agreement. Of course, we complicate matters by electing opposing parties, espousing policy that never can be reconciled. Minnesota has taken the same road to nowhere, and while we might know where we are, no one knows where we are going or when we will get there. Nearby Wisconsin has been a real-time example of democracy in action, although it's slovenly for the demonstrators to have defaced marble in the Capitol and cost millions so far to clean up their mess. Better communications might have prevented this confrontation and each of the other legislative impasses, as they say, if only labor contracts had been more visible for the public eye. Willmar can take the lead by posting labor contracts to the city webpage. Our Willmar Utilities and Rice Hospital could be asked to do the same. Your good example might stimulate Kandiyohi County, Pioneer Land Library System, and the school district to do the same too. Transparency builds trust. Openness adds to public confidence. When employee costs are 80% of the total city budget, it is easy for taxpayers to blame public employees for spiraling costs. Your obligation, gentlemen, to both parties is disclosure and an open forum. The public should shape its opinion by knowing the facts. You represent the missing party at the negotiating table, the taxpayer. I urge you to post a summary and the labor contracts for public viewing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item is recognition of another employee that's retiring, and I'll just call on Mick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's into that.
Members of the council. If we keep doing this, we won't have anybody left to work. But tonight we want to recognize Sue Torreson, who has just successfully completed an ocean voyage with her husband, and apparently retirement is to their benefit, and we applaud them for that. Susan came to work for the city of Willmar in 1995, and she has a long history of work in the appraisal field. Prior to that, she was working in the townships with through the county. So she had, by the time she decided to retire, in the neighborhood of 30 years of experience right here in our community, and we are very appreciative of her time with us. She is perhaps one of the most pleasant people that I've ever had the privilege of knowing and working with. She's a wonderful person, never had a bad word to say about anybody, and one of the things I will truly miss is she pointed out in some of this information I had that they want to spend some more time traveling and time with their grandchildren. Well, we got into a habit of sharing pictures of our grandchildren, so I don't know how we'll continue to do that in the future, but hopefully we can find a way. Susan, I would invite you to join me. I know that the mayor and the city council would like to express their appreciation as well. So, Doug?
Okay. Well, Sue, on behalf of the city council, the mayor, and a thankful public. I mean, 30-some years serving the public, and then since 95 for the city. And I know how meticulous you are from the border review, and your thorough work was very evident, and we just thank you for those many years of service. We hope you have a wonderful retirement. I could see when Mick talked about the cruise, a big smile went on his face. I see George is smiling. And say you had a good time.
Life is good.
Life is good. So we want to thank you, and this is appreciation for the many years, a small token of appreciation, but we thank you so much, Sue.
Thank you very much for this. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Ken.
Now, Sue, if you wanted to say something, you're more than welcome to do so.
Okay. I can add a little bit to this. Yes, yes. City council members, City of Willmar officials, thank you very much for the gift. And I also thank you very much for giving me those 15 years of a job working for the City of Willmar Assessor's Office. I enjoyed the job, and I enjoyed working for all the other city employees that I had to go to for questions to help me do my work properly. So I thank you for everything. And like I say, life is good. Your days will come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue, and George, enjoy your time together. Did you say that, Pat? Well, you're going to miss her, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah. But we wish you the very best.
I'm glad she's going on to bigger and better things.
Thank you for the nice comments. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on then to consideration of a resolution accepting offer on sale of hospital revenue notes, Series 2011, for the Rice Care Center project and providing for their issuance. And I'll call on Bill Fensky. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. I don't know the privilege of having to follow something like that, but I will certainly try.
You were only wishing it was you.
I won't even comment. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and the City Council. We are here to request a resolution to approve the offer of the sale of the bonds for the Rice Care Center. I do want to make a point that we had a couple of late edits or changes to the document that you have here, and the only thing that it affects is who is participating in the purchasing of the bonds. The banks have requested that they be specifically identified in the bond documents versus just having one bank and then participating it out. The 4 banks that are participating are Heritage Bank, Bremer Bank, Lake Region Bank, and Concord Bank. And their specific dollar amounts are going to be identified out in the final documents, which unfortunately were not ready for tonight. They'll be ready for tomorrow. But that's the only change to the documents. Otherwise, all of the other terms and conditions are included in here, which would be that the city's going to make 4 quarterly payments to the different banks. There's going to be 4 amortization schedules as well, because of the varying amounts that each of the banks are going to be buying of the bonds. And with that, I would answer any questions that anybody may have regarding this resolution.
Any questions? Councilmember DeBleek.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Bill, these notes are for 30 years?
30-year notes.
That's a long time.
Yep.
And I know when most people, when you look at financing something for 30 years, you worry about capacity to repay them. You feel we'll have that capacity to repay the notes?
Yep, we will. One of the things that I look at is I want to try to align and match up the life of the project with the life of the bonds. A project like this of building a new wing is going to have a longer life. One of the other pieces is the ability to prepay the bonds, and we do have that ability. So and I think that gives us flexibility to ensure that we're able to fund those that debt service and then also prepay if things are more positive than what we project.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, that was my question.
Councilmember Allen?
Thank you, Mr. President. The same question was on the 30-year note, and that was my, you answered it quite well, that you have the ability to pay it out early. What's the depreciation schedule on this debt, on this?
Well, it's going to vary depending on some of the items to it, but it's anywhere from that 20 to 25-year range is the depreciation. You know, some of the mechanical equipment will be a little lesser year life, but some of the, the actual the construction of it, the walls, the roof, and so on, that's going to be more that 25 to 30-year life.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Dockin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Bill, thank you for coming. Well, after almost 5 years now as the council liaison, I've seen a lot of changes. I'd like for you to explain to the public why we're doing this, what the significance is from the standpoint of revenue that these 23 new beds will make when that is finished, plus what will happen when we improve the regular rooms that need to be upgraded desperately.
Well, there's many benefits to this, and thank you for bringing this up. One of the project that we have underway is a dedicated 23-bed unit that specifically is going to be identifying the needs of rehabilitation patients. The patients who are coming out of the hospital need rehabilitation for a short period of time, and then they transition to home. A very good example of that, somebody comes and breaks their hip. They need a hip replacement. They'll go to Rice Care Center, for some intensive therapy, and then they'll be moving on home. A lot of those residents, a lot of those patients are Medicare age. Medicare reimbursement is greater than medical assistance reimbursement, and that is the increase in that reimbursement is going to be able to pay for the debt and the construction of this project. The second thing that it does is it provides us the opportunity to increase the number of private rooms. Right now we are limited at the care center by the number of private rooms that we have, and this will provide us easily doubling the number of private rooms, and I think we'll end up somewhere about 2/3 of our residents are going to be in private rooms, about 1/3 will be in semi-private rooms. And so there's really two major reasons, and the first one, the project undergoing now, will address both of those.
Anything else? Councilmember DeBleek?
Do we have a resolution? If not,
There is a resolution, yes. We don't, it has not been introduced yet.
I'll introduce the resolution.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second introducing the resolution. Any other questions? Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Thanks for coming, Bill. Can you tell us what's the timeline when the project will be completed, the wing?
Yeah, the expected occupancy will be June of 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. June of 2011.
Are you on target?
We're about 2 weeks behind, and but we had factored in some of that, and our budget had factored in really occupancy July 1st, but we're still in that June time frame. And so one of the things that is important to note is that nursing home construction is residential type construction, and it's not hospital type construction. So that has a significant positive impact in the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Roll call.
Councilmember Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amman.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek,
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Resolution passes. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much for your support.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is an update from Christy Kurth from the Willmar Food Shelf. Welcome, Christy.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Reese, City Council members, Willmar City staff, and all of the residents of Willmar, both here tonight and at home watching. I'm Christy Kurth, Executive Director of the Willmar Area Food Shelf, and I would first like to thank you for the opportunity to update you on the food shelf. I always like to start out with just a little bit of history. The Willmar Area Food Shelf, or WAFS, is in its 29th year of serving the residents of Candy, Ohio County. In 1982, our country was in the midst of a recession similar to what we are seeing today. Agnes Johnson, a resident of the Pennock area, knew that there were families in our community that were in need of food. She held an organizational meeting in April, and by July of 1982, WAFS was incorporated. Agnes's vision was to create a temporary emergency food shelf that would serve the residents of Candy, Ohio County. Her dream was to see hunger end. Unfortunately, the fight against hunger and the need for WAFS is even greater 29 years later. In the first year, they served approximately 60 families a month. Over the next 23 years, there was a modest growth in the number of families being served. In 2005, when I started at the food shelf, we served on average 323 families per month. In 2006 and 2007, we continued to see only a moderate growth. But from December of 2007 through December of 2010, we saw a 75% increase in the numbers of families being served. The majority of this increase was seen from the last quarter of 2008 through the end of 2009. In 2010, we saw a 15% increase over 2009. We served on average 674 families last year. We served a total of 8,091 families. That included 13,494 adults, 9,750 children, and 442 65 and older. And we distributed over 814,000 pounds of food. To give you an idea of how much 814,000 pounds of food is, one semi-truck full of food is approximately 30,000 pounds, roughly, between 30 and 34,000. So we distributed 27 semi-truck full of food, which is a huge number. To qualify for assistance, one needs to bring in proof of residency within Candy, Ohio County, and identification for each person in the household. The family or individual needs to meet the financial guidelines set by the USDA. We are a USDA facility. We receive commodities. And then once the client has gone through the intake process, they are able to utilize our services once a month. Although we will work with individuals and families on a case-by-case basis if they are in need of more assistance. In January of 2009, we went from serving families boxes of food to client choice. This is where the client is able to shop for their own food based on the size of their family. We feel this has helped us stretch our inventory, and instead of giving a family just a box of food, we have empowered them to select their own items for their families. In September of 2009, WAFS opened a satellite office in New London. The New London office is located in the old clinic and is open 2 days a week. In the first year, we served approximately 23 families a month, and now we are up to 51 families per month. Families are only served at our original office in Willmar or the new location in New London. The New London office has really given WAFS a way to reach out to families in the northern parts of our county that we weren't able to before. On the back side of the informational sheet that was provided in your mailing, I would like to draw your attention to a few of the statistics. I am not going to review all of them, but there were just a few that I thought I would like to touch base on. We currently have 3,731 active files. What this means is that through the mandates through the USDA, we have to keep all client files on hand for 3 years after the last date that they utilize our services. So we have 3,731 families that have utilized our services within the last 3 years. If you go down to the financial support, you'll see that in 2010, we raised $240,657. And I have it broken out there, but I just want to draw your attention to a few items. First of all, federally, we receive FEMA dollars, and that is about 2.5% of our budget. We receive state funding, which comes through Hunger Solutions, and that is about 10.4% of our budget. Then we receive matching grants that are matched through the month of March through the Minnesota Food Share, and that equals about 4.1%. The rest of the items that I haven't talked about are civic and community, Candy Ohio United Way, local businesses, Candy Ohio County, individuals, and churches. They all make up about 81.3% of our dollars that we raised. That means that over 81% of our budget is raised locally from residents right here in Candy Ohio County. Our largest contributors, if you note, are individuals at 25.7%, with churches following close behind at 24.5%. That says a lot about the people here, about our neighbors giving to us and supporting us. Not only do we receive great financial support locally, but local businesses are fantastic supporters of the food shelf. WAFS receives regular donations from both big box businesses and smaller hometown businesses. Some of the examples are Cobb & Cashwise. We receive bread, bakery, dated or slightly damaged dry goods, produce, and meat 4 times a week. Walmart, the same type of products, we receive 3 times a week. Yonkers, we receive bread and bakery twice a week. Target, we receive non-food items twice a month. And New London Bakery, once or twice a week. So we get a lot of support from our local grocers and other small businesses. We are also very fortunate to receive fresh garden produce during the late summer months and early fall. We have several farmers and gardeners that donate produce to us. We received over 30,000 pounds of locally grown produce in 2010. It's amazing to see all the fresh produce when it starts coming in. WAFS also takes pride not only in the fight that we fight against hunger, but the community partnerships that we have with other organizations. We work with Harvest Community Church on their Saturday grocery giveaway, several student programs at WHS, the Girls and Boy Scouts, church youth groups, and the United Way's Growmobile and ACGC's Community Hope Project by supplying food for both of their projects, backpack projects, that benefit families in need. We feel it's important to support others as the community supports us. In January of 2008, the Willmar Area Food Shelf Board of Directors secured the future of WAFS. We purchased our building that we had occupied for 5 years. And by the middle of 2010, I am proud to say we paid off the mortgage. Looking into our future, in November 2010, WAFS board and staff held a strategic planning session. We created 3 to 5 year goals. The goals are as follows. Goal 1, expand services to meet more community food and basic household and personal care needs for children, seniors, homebound individuals, and the growing diverse community in Candy, Ohio County. Goal 2, develop an aesthetically pleasing space to efficiently accommodate the clients, community, staff, and volunteers, and to implement our mission. Goal 3, establish fiscal and programmatic stability at the Willmar area food shelf. One of the first items that we are investigating is the remodeling of our building. Because of the increased numbers we have seen over the last several years, it has become clear that we are in need of reorganization and the adding of a walk-in cooler and freezer. We are in the very early stages of this and hope to have a full plan of action by the summer of 2011. The other item that we have really started to focus on is goal number 1, to expand our services with the household and personal care needs. This morning, if you saw the newspaper article, it talked about Kelly Prawl, the Girl Scout that is going for her Silver Award. And she is doing that by helping us educate the community that besides food, we are also in need of some personal care items like shampoo, deodorant, soaps, toilet paper, those very basic items for our clients. And so we are working already on 2 of our goals to help us continue to move forward in our mission. WAFS strives to end hunger here in our community. It is a daunting task and one that is ever growing right now. We are thankful for everyone who believes in us and continues to support our efforts. I will now take any questions. There's any?
Christy, as I sit and listen and you talk about a daunting task, it sounded like a complete success story to me as you were telling it. And we just thank everybody that gives and everybody that works with the food shelf and what you do for our community and the people that are in such need.
Thank you.
Very impressive as far as what the Willmar area food shelf has done in a really short time.
We could not do our task every day, and we could not meet the needs of our community without our neighbors. You know, one of the PSAs that is running right now, if anyone's heard it, is we really rely on our neighbors to help support us. And we are so fortunate. I sit on a statewide board for hunger solutions. And over the last few years, there's been many food shelves or food pantries that have had to close or have had to lessen their services. And because of the support we receive, we're able to look at increasing our services or look at ways that we can better serve our community. So it goes both ways, and I thank you.
And we thank everybody that's watching and everybody that sees this, because there's a lot of people that in the community that are helping the community, and that's
exactly.
wonderful.
And just a quick note, March is Minnesota Food Share Month. This is our big fundraising month, and there are several activities. Many churches, many social organizations are collecting for us, and there are a couple of big events. Radio for Relief on the 25th. There's the new one, Whitney Music and Jazz and Java are hosting Sing for Their Supper on the 26th, 3 to 5, and one of the city employees is singing. The fire chief is going to sing.
He told me.
So there's a... We're trying to get one of the...
You want people to come, though, don't you?
I know. We want one of the law enforcement... we want a law enforcement representative, too, so...
Police chief is a good singer.
He is, all right. We'll run some water or something. But there's some great events planned, and again, that just shows the wonderful support that our community has, so...
Any questions from council members or comments? Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Thanks for coming. Your report is always interesting, and thanks for all you do. It's a wonderful organization. How many employees do you have? I assume you have a lot of volunteers, and do you have some paid staff, or how are you staffed?
Yep, we have 3 employees. we were 2 employees, and then in June of 2010, we added an additional employee. And then we have, between our 2 locations, between 35 and 40 volunteers.
Wow, that's terrific.
So.
And if someone wanted to contribute, is the easiest way to just come into your office and give a check, or to some of these other events, or what's the best way? What do you like best?
Whichever is easiest. Like I said, there's a lot of churches that are, collecting right now. They can certainly drop it off at the food shelf or mail it in to us. Right now is the best time for us because we earn grant money, and last year we earned about $10,000 in grant money from Minnesota Food Share. We were hoping to raise about $140,000 and food combined during the month of March, and we are at $138,000. This year our goal is $160,000. So we are looking for everyone to just hopefully dig a little bit deeper, but cash is always great because we can purchase food through Second Harvest Heartland, which is a part of Feeding America. We purchase food at a discounted rate for 4 to 16 cents per pound. They get food donated to them, and then we pay a maintenance fee to help them pay, obviously, their cost. Also, if there's items like macaroni and cheese or chicken noodle soup seem to be hot items, and they can't always get that donated, so then they'll buy a semi-truck full, and then we will pay, instead of, say, $10 for a case of something, it'll be $6. So that's 2 ways that we can purchase through them. So in years before, they always said donate food. Now, because of the work that they have done for the hunger community, if you can donate cash, we are able to stretch your dollar a little bit farther.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rahman.
Thank you very much for your hard work and for the great ideas that people have come up with, and also the community for supporting this. It's good to see that we have a need in this community that's being met by the residents and by great collaboration of people that have put their minds together to deal with the problem. Some of my questions are philosophical, I'm going to ask you, but I just have a little curiosity trying to understand your funding sources. I was just looking down, the churches at approximately 25%, individuals 25%. Kandiyohi County must be an annual contribution that you ask them to donate or help out in the cause.
Yes, Kandiyohi County gives to the food shelf $14,000 annually.
And just trying to understand the FEMA money, the federal money, 2.5%, that's given to every nonprofit food shelf, or is that an application you have to go through, or a grant that you have to write every year?
It is through the United Way of West Central Minnesota. They get a stipend of so much money to be used for food and shelter. And so there's, I believe, 7 of us that divide that money, and we receive a portion of that.
Great. Hunger Solutions, the state funding they have in parentheses here is 10.4%, about $25,000 a year. Is that something that you see is going to be happening in the future again with the state? Is that a question mark?
Question mark. Yeah, we really don't know. I do know that one grant that we received for the last 2 years is no longer. It was called the Milk Grant. Actually, Representative Yankee, Yankee, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong. He was actually one of the writers of the bill, and it gave money to the food shelves to purchase milk. So for the last 2 years, we basically didn't pay for milk. We paid I think it was $1 for 9 half gallons. That money is now gone. So my estimated cost for milk alone this year is about $4,000 additional to my budget. So no, that grant money, you'll see state funding will be lower next year.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Can I have one more question? I hate to take your time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Right ahead.
Council. Just out of curiosity also, a lot of times if you don't use the food shelf, you don't understand, really don't question it. But just out of curiosity, what other communities, you mentioned New London, you have a branch office there. In Candioi County, those are the two only places for people to get assistance, to get help. How about the surrounding counties?
Yep, all the surrounding counties. There's a food shelf in Olivia, Litchfield, Benson. They are not anywhere as large as we are, and they are only open limited hours. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, where I believe like Olivia is only open 2 days a week, 4 hours a day. So they are on a much smaller scale.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do you have any idea why? Well, I guess the economics show for it. So if you mentioned a 15% increase in 2010, trying to put together our census data that's going to be coming to us soon, I'm curious how this plays out in finances in terms of wealth of individuals in the county. And when we get more information, I guess we can try to decipher that. But do you have any inkling as to how or why that 15% was, what was the large increase due to?
Yep, I think right now what we're hearing and seeing is that it is those families that have not been laid off of work, or maybe they work construction, and so they've been off for a time, and even when construction was very slow, they didn't work the full summer, full winter last year, and so their hours in general have been cut. Some of them were receiving unemployment. That has now run out, or they have just shuffled bills around, and there's just no more juggling, no more shuffling of those bills. We have seen a lot of increase in the number of families with 2 incomes coming in, and that is the reason. Or one lady came in last week, and her husband are both working full-time. She has not had a raise in 3 years, and her insurance, though, has went up now this year. She's paying almost twice the amount, and she carries the insurance for her family. So it's just a combination of those items that we're seeing right now.
Some of the employers have been cutting back on their amount of benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Councilmember Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you, Christy, for coming. I don't know, do you come annually to report to us, or is this one for the last 3 years, or?
I think the last time I came was late summer of 2009.
Okay. Some of the increase, I assume, is from opening the new London office. It says you opened it here in September of 2010.
In September of
2009.
Yes.
So from 9 to 10, that might have been a big chunk of the increase, I'm assuming, unless those people from New London came to Willmar previously.
Yeah, I would say those first 21 that I talked about when we first opened, we served 21 families. We did really promote to them that the food shelf was opening to go there, but then the additional 30-some families, I would say, are new families from that area.
The non-food items that you get, like from Target, are those personal care items? Is that what you're talking about? Shampoos and toothpaste and toothbrushes, things like that?
Yep, and we get like dog food, because if they have an item that the bag has been accidentally ripped when it's been out on the floor, then they will donate that to us.
Dogs need to eat too?
They do, and that is a controversy sometimes, because sometimes people don't understand. But when there's a family or an individual that is already down on their luck or having a hard time, sometimes that pet is the only stable thing that they have in their life. And it's from talking with Charlie at West Central Industries and stuff, they have seen people actually feed them their food so that their pet has something to eat. So it is important to have.
Where do you see this in the next 2 to 5 years? I mean, it seems to be, is there any end in sight? I mean, this local food shelf just keeps growing and growing and growing, and will you get into something beyond personal care products too, or is it you're going to kind of keep it to food and personal care?
Yeah, I personally see us just keeping it at, 90%, 95% of our business is going to be the food items, and then a small portion will be non-food. We currently give out what we call toiletry kits. So in a bag, we put in 1 roll of toilet paper, and then whatever other items we have. Through Second Harvest, we sometimes can get toothpaste. We just got shampoo. These are items that we had never paid full price for. We couldn't do that. So when we are able to get something for the 4 to 16 cents per pound through Second Harvest, we will purchase that, and then we'll put them in our toiletry kits. And when a family asks for them, we give them those.
And then once again, the requirements, or how often can somebody come in? Is it once a month, once a week?
Once a month.
Once a month, and that's,
Yep.
You have a schedule, so you check people's names off when they come in, and
Yep, we have to keep a file on each client that comes in. We're mandated by the USDA because we receive USDA commodities. So we have a file on each family, and we track when they come in and how much food they received, because for us to track our inventory, we have to track what comes in and what goes out by pound each. So that's all noted on their file, and we computerize it all, of course. And so we keep track of everything.
let me ask you this. Do you know of any college students that use the food shelf?
We do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you again for your report.
Yes, and I would like to talk to you about that someday. There's some support that needs to be given to some of our college students, unfortunately. Or fortunately, we're there for them. So,
Fortunately, we have a lot of givers in this community, so.
yes, very much so.
Anybody else? Questions? If not, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
report, and carry back to the rest of your volunteers and contributors a big thank you for what they do for the community.
Great. Thank you for your time tonight.
Christy. Next thing on the agenda is Community Ed and Rec Departmental Report from Steve Brizentine. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Reese, members of the council, fellow staff, and community members of Willmar. It's my pleasure to give the Community Ed and Rec annual report tonight. I'd be remiss if I didn't speak to the origin of the Community Ed and Rec Department. This is our 11th report in March, so 11 years ago this month. The city of Willmar and Willmar Public Schools merged the Community Ed and Recreation Departments. So with that, here's our 11th annual report of the merged department. This being the last annual report that I'll give in front of Mick, it would be in poor taste on my part to not mention the contributions that Mick has given to our department and the support from the beginning that we've been here. So Mick, as you near retirement, thank you for your efforts. Some of those efforts in the last 11 years, I'll talk about the facilities. Because we'll talk about the programming as we get through the report. But I think without the leadership that Mick has provided, we've created a skate park, we've created a soccer field complex, the Dorothy Olson Aquatic Center, the Civic Center expansion, Taunton Stadium, and many trail improvements and expansions in the 11 years that we've had this shared department, and much of that's due to Mick's leadership. So thank you very much, Mick. As we get into the program then, couldn't do it without the public. Our Joint Powers Board is made up of 6 appointed members of the City Council appoints and 6 members that the School Board appoints, and they're listed there. They serve 3-year terms. They can re-up for a second 3-year term, so we try to have turnover staggered terms, so basically about 2 members of each entity are expiring terms on an annual basis. So As March leaves us this month, we do have a couple 3 openings, so I'd be remiss not to mention that anybody interested in serving on this Joint Powers Board can contact me in the near future, as we will have a couple 3 openings here this month. Again, Mr. Fagerly is the council member appointee, and Dan Kroonquist is the new school board appointee. Our staff members, we got a long list of staff members. You've got the coordination staff in front of you. Many of those folks are veterans at the world they live in here in the Community Ed and Rec Department. Our second slide of them is our flow chart, and it shows some of the job duties and responsibilities that they've got and how we flow the workload from the City Council and School Board down to the staff members. Our mission statement. You need to have a direction, and I think our mission statement provides us with the direction that we currently have. And that is to generate, support, and encourage lifelong learning opportunities in the areas of education, personal growth, and leisure activities. And we evolved to meet these needs through of area residents in the surrounding communities through collaboration and non-duplication of services. We've got many other entities in this community that do like work that we do, and we try to work with them to provide better leverage on the resources available to us all and not duplicate the services that are out there available to the public. I asked members of the coordination staff to put slides together, so you're going to see the next number of slides are from the coordination staff and some of the program responsibilities that they've got. This is a slide from Tammy Ridnigan, who is our youth enrichment and adult enrichment leader in our department, as well as she teaches a block at the high school each quarter on youth service. She's responsible for our Rainbow Learners program, which is a tutoring service that we do at Kennedy Elementary School. Last year we tutored 143 students. 137 of those showed gain. We tutor in math and reading. 137 showed gains in reading or math. 128 of those showed gains in both reading and math last year. So we think that that's a very valued program. This is our 3rd year providing services in the schools. She also started a new program last summer called HAWK, Healthy Active Willmar Kids. Followed the Grow-Mobile and the Salvation Army meal site to community areas. Regency East, West, and Dana Heights, I believe, were the 3 sites that they went to and had over 350 youth involved. The picture you see on the bottom of the slide here is of the Regency West shelter. Their community service project last summer was to paint this mural on that shelter. About a week into it, it was vandalized. Sidewalk Michelangelo's got to it, and they went back the next week, and it hasn't been touched since, and it's because the community out there appreciates the work that was done. Youth recreation, a strong component of ours, a long history of providing youth recreation in this community. A number of the programs listed, not necessarily programs that we do by ourselves. Many of those are in collaboration with youth associations, such as the wrestling with the Takedown Club, some of the basketball programming we do with the coaching staff at the high school and the Basketball Association, as well as the hockey. Running the MITE program is what we do. We introduce them to the hockey program through the MITE program, and then the Willmar Hockey Association takes over the programming thereafter. Our facilities, I talked a little bit about some of the new facilities over the last decade, but we get the privilege of utilizing all the city and school facilities in this community, and there are a number of them. As you can see, we've got 18 ball fields, we've got 36 to 39 parks, depending on what number you want to use. We've got all the shelters at Robbins Island, as well as some of the major parks like Rice and Miller have great shelters for the community to use. The Civic Center has just transferred itself from ice on both sides to a dry floor on the Civic Center side, so a multi-use facility that gets a lot of usage, and the scheduling of those facilities run through our office through Rob Baumgarn. Our adult sports, Brad Bonk is in his 3rd year with us now, and leads us in the activities that we do for the adult recreational folks. Wrapping up our volleyball and basketball season as we speak, along with our hockey and curling. This weekend there's 22 teams signed up for the curling bonspiel at the Civic Center. On Wednesday nights alone, between the curling, hockey, and basketball program, we've got 350 adults playing city recreational activities on those on Wednesday nights alone. 350 adults out enjoying themselves and probably stopping at one of the establishments in town to kick a few dollars around as well. Our latest project is the Willmar Trail and Pedestrian Plan. Last summer, late summer, early fall, we enlisted the services of Mid-Minnesota Development Commission, who had just gotten done providing the Willmar Comprehensive Plan. Inside of that plan, there was some trail and pedestrian walkway discussions. So we thought, let's take that a little bit further. If we're going to invest the money in a trail system and want to create safe routes to schools and destinations in this community, let's get a plan that we can put our hands around that designates where our weaknesses are, where our strengths are, so that we can build upon our strengths and decrease the weaknesses out there as we try to move people around this community. As gas prices climb, where does the ceiling hit, and if it's going to be $4 or $5 a gallon, there's going to be less motor transportation, so it behooves us to look at alternative ways of getting people to and from the major destination areas. We've created a vision statement for this project. We've got a number of goals we've enlisted. We've got a committee of about 18 community members representing our department, obviously MMDC, a number of the health field areas, the hospital, the clinics, as well as public health. And then we've got MnDOT and some other services represented, as well as some of the folks that sell some of the products that we would use on our trails. So we're pretty excited about this plan. We think that we're going to be done in the late April to mid-May timeframe, so we'll bring that to the table as soon as that plan is completed. The Willmar Community and Activities Center, I'm not sure I brought you this new name last year or not, but last year during the course of the year, they enlisted the assistance of the marketing class at Ridgewater College to assist them and make that transition. As many of you know, it went from the Willmar Senior Center to the Willmar Community Center, and as they're working with the Ridgewater students, they were pretty adamant about there's more than just this facility. What you're doing out at this facility is more than just people coming into this building, and there's a lot of activity. So they thought it was important that they included the activity portion of what takes place at the community center as well. So it is an active place. As you can look at the rentals, in 2008 there was 1,008. Last year there was 1,145. A number of increases in the usage of that facility. Somewhat program related. We've increased programming out there, from the recreational activities to the computer classes to some of the health things that are taking place out there, but also just the general overall usage from the Kiwanis and Lions groups meeting there on a weekly basis, the meal site meeting there 5 days a week. There's just a number of activities taking place at that facility. A couple of years ago, they added the High Avenue Garden. You can see in 2008 we started with a small garden of 12 plots. Last year we had 39, and I do believe that we're inching ourselves towards about 50 this year, if I'm not mistaken. The public works staff has assisted the staff at the community center in creating those spaces. So we hope that we're able to meet that niche in the community that wants to grow their own food, and I think Christy was one of the benefactors of some of that product that was grown out at that facility last year. As you can see, the facilities at that place include a lounge area for folks to sit around and yap or enjoy a book, as well as a card area, a classroom, a computer lab, the dining area, an auditorium, and then the wood shop that Mr. Halliday has worked diligently to get the equipment in line for us, so able to use that. Dorothy Olson Aquatic Center, the numbers obviously depend on what the weather is like in the summer. In 2009, we had just under 15,000 guests. Last year, 18,763 folks went through the doors of that facility. For a facility open 72, 73 days a year, you can see, do the simple math, and it's a lot of people on a daily basis. So a quality facility, a quality of life type facility that we hope will be there for generations to come. Our indoor range at the Civics, at the auditorium, basement of the auditorium, has seen an increase of usage as well. Probably much of it related to the conceal and carry laws that were passed a number of years ago, and the fact that there's many more of those providers out there running those classes on a weekly, monthly basis. So as you get to page 2, total shooters, 990 folks used that range last year, average attendance about 20 people a time. It's open November through April, I think, is the time frame that we've got, and then they'll go out and use the outdoor range. Just completed a new arrangement with the folks at the range, and that'll be coming for your signature here in the next week or so. So pretty excited about the collaborations that we've got there. It's a good group of guys, and they've helped us tremendously with the new language that we're going to bring forth next month. Special events. Much of what we do is program related, and as you can see by special events, we've got a number of special events that we're a part of. Not necessarily these are all community ed and rec activities, but in many cases we're just a small portion of what takes place. We think it's important to celebrate different things throughout the course of the year, and I think the things listed on this page are just that, a way of enjoying ourselves, giving the folks another opportunity to get out and either be a part of recreation or some cultural activities. Our adult basic education program is more than just the site at Jefferson Learning Center. It's 10 school districts, you see them listed, as well as Candido High and Meeker County jails, and we also do the GED testing at Rimville County. The numbers of students went up tremendously last year. We served 1,530 students in 08-09, and last year we served 1,842 students in those 12 sites. Our attendance hours from those students, 61,274 hours of attendance. As Christy has a log on each of her users of their facility, we have a log on all of our students. Daily they check in, and daily they check out, and the staff work on independent learning plans with each and every one of those learners. Our arena operations, hockey. We had a little uptick in hockey this winter, so we look forward to giving you a report next year that hopefully we'll see some increases in the hockey usage. But because of some of the downswing of that program, we've been able to increase some of the other programming that takes place out there. Kevin's worked diligently with the Phi Ed departments in the school system to get the Phi Ed department out there, and has introduced curling to the students. The public skating and the Diamond's Edge Skating Club has had an increase in numbers. And then the adult hockey leagues. Last year we started an adult hockey league with about 95 participants. This year we had about 100 participants, but they also started a Sunday night Christian league as well. So we've seen a 100% increase in the number of adult hockey players this past year. And then as we move into the dry floor season, we had an event last weekend, and you'll see something taking place almost every weekend for the next couple of months out at the Civic Center. Again, probably the best utilized arena in the state of Minnesota, at least Greater Minnesota. I think Kevin puts on more dry floor events than any other arena operator in Greater Minnesota. Just does a wonderful job of recruiting and placing folks to utilize that facility. Our Cardinal Kids preschool program is in its 6th year. That's a 4-year-old program, 20 students, 15 fee-based, and 5 special needs students that we use as an opportunity to do peer modeling in there and try to get students ready for kindergarten. A Kennedy Elementary School program that's worked wonderfully for us for the last 6 years. Our Cardinal Place program is a school-age care program, operates every non-school day as well as before and after school each day. We only take the major holidays off, so we're able to accomplish our goal of being able to provide a safe, nurturing, and educational place for the elementary age students, and the folks have really appreciated that. We're serving about 135 students a day, about 200 students total, which is up from 173 last year. The Child Guide program, they're in their 2nd year of being a part of community education and recreation. A couple of years ago, they were a homeless entity. They've joined us, and we're happy to have them. One of their goals is to provide programming options for students and families, and to be the liaison between the student and the program that they're trying to get them involved in. Their goal is to develop assets in our young people, and to do that, they think putting them in asset building programs such as sporting events, arts activities, enrichment activities, and educational activities, they're reaching their goals. So you can see the number of placements that they had this past year have gone through the roof, and we'd like to think that it's because they're part of Community Ed and Rec and they've got more avenues to work with. They've got the staff that are a part of Community Ed and Rec to assist them, and then in saying that, the child guides have actually assisted our programs and the increase in numbers in our programs as well. Early childhood family programs. Much of the Jefferson wing is early ed programming from the early childhood family ed program. That is a child-parent program. All ECFE programs are not drop your child off and we'll come and get them a couple hours later. This is where the parents and children come to classes together. They work on activities together for about a third of the program. They separate for about a third of the program and do parenting skills, and then child get some child education pieces, and then they come back together for closure as well. Then our preschool programs are the drop-off programs where we're trying to educate and get kids ready for kindergarten. We served 80 students ages 3 to 5 last year in our Kids Together program. Our Creative Kids program is a collaboration with Head Start and ECSE, and then our Cardinal Kids program that I spoke about earlier. Over 60% of our students receive scholarship dollars, and the assistance we get with scholarship dollars are the community ed budget itself, as well as United Way and other entities have been very generous in helping us support these programs. To go to elementary school in the state of Minnesota, they have to go through early childhood screening. Our department assists with the early childhood screening. We do it twice a month. Actually, today was one of the days we do it. We schedule an appointment with a child. We try to reach them between the ages of 3 and 4 to better assist the school system if there's any way that there's assistance that the student might need prior to entering kindergarten, and whether that would be through special needs or other assets that are available to help the children. That's the goal of screening. Collaborations. This isn't about just the staff that were listed on one of the first couple slides. This is about what the community wants and needs from community education and recreation. We counted up last year that we had 152 different collaborations that we worked with, and it speaks volumes as to the number of people it takes to run the type of programming that we've got. The next slide is the slide from our annual report that gets sent into the Department of Education. You'll see the number of students, number of adults that we've served in everything from academic to child care to enrichment to recreational and sports activities. Bottom of the slide is the facility use. We had over 65, actually not over 65, you got 65 listed. So we had 65 outside groups use school and city facilities last year, and 84,000 people were a part of those groups that were using the facilities. Got a couple of slides on the financing pieces. This is the city recreation budget, the areas of responsibility that I have, the Community and Activity Center, Leisure Services Department, the Dorothy Olson Aquatic Center. Buildings and grounds is actually rentals from like the auditorium and Robbins Island, and then the Civic Center budget. The Community and Activity Center generates about 10% of its budget from fees and activities. Leisure Services is about 25% is covered through fees and service dollars. The Dorothy Olson Aquatic Center is about a third. And the Civic Center last year was just a hair over 50% of the budget was covered through fees and charges related non-tax dollars, I guess is another way of putting that. Then I'd have a boatload of the school budget. This is just one slide that gives us a different look. The local levy is the school district levy to the taxpayers of Willmar. The state aid is from the state of Minnesota. $820,000, 600,000, just under 600,000 of that is for the ABE program. So it's kind of skewed because of being the fiscal host for the 10 school districts on the ABE program. So fees and tuition covered about a third of the dollars in the budget. Gifts and grants, we've been blessed to have a number of faithful partners out there, the PAC-4s of the world, United Way, Bremer Bank Foundation, a number of folks that grant dollars to our organization to allow us to do the work we do and to reach those that are in need. So we thank all of our partners in the programming dollars. I'll get through a number of these slides. All budget information, these are all part of your slides. And then, whoops, questions? Well, Dave, you got that? And then on the bottom, the second document is Kevin Matson's Civic Center report. You've got a copy of his report as well. That's a number of other pages as well. So with that, I'd take any questions, Major.
Thank you, Steve. A lot of information. And I see that you've been busy in the department.
It is a lot of busyness for us, but to do the things that we get to do on a daily basis is, it's good work to do.
Well, I think of how really the department, since the change, has expanded in not only the activities, but also even the facilities that are available.
Oh, for sure. For sure. The facility improvements that we've done, the programming enhancements, the collaborations that we've got with the associations. There used to be a lot of people doing things on their own, and now I think there's more of a partnership out there in trying to provide the best that you can versus just trying to do what you want to do yourself. So I think we're leveraging it.
Thinking of some of the mentions that you had early on as far as the aquatic center and Taunton Field, and our civic center isn't really that old in my mind, but but then the addition,
right?
And I don't remember what else you mentioned, but I thought, boy, we really have added a lot.
Well, the skate park, that came about because some students came to this council chambers and asked you to do one.
What are we going to do with that?
Right now, it's just fine where it's at. We've got options that we'll consider once something might take place with Washington, but as of right now, that facility's not moving, so it works right there. Right?
Is it used a lot?
Oh, tremendous amount. Tremendous amount. Yeah, every day.
Kind of out of sight.
Right now, it is. But the police chief knows where it's at, so that's a good thing, if need be. The soccer field complex was another one that was a collaboration. Genio Turkey Store was a major donor in making that take place. That's a great complex that as spring hits, you'll start seeing the usage out at that facility again as well. And we've got some thoughts on how we can enhance that recreational component down in the southwest sector. We'd love to add some blacktop basketball courts out there, some other recreational things that we've got our mind on as soon as we start finding ways to fund some of those things. But we think that we can enhance the aquatic center by bringing more activities closer to that facility as well.
Sure.
So that's
Absolutely.
some of our goals.
Questions? Councilmember DeBleek.
Yes, Steve, one thing, volunteer activities or opportunities, do you have a list of what they are, and how would people find out about those, or if they wanted to volunteer to help with one of the programs?
Volunteer opportunities run the whole gamut of what we have to offer. In most cases, all of the coaching, I shouldn't say all, but the majority of the coaching that we've got that takes place with our youth sports, that's all volunteer coaches doing that. So we've got plenty of volunteer coaching opportunities. We don't get many volunteers to officiate, so we have to pay those guys. But our adult basic education programs got a lot of volunteer opportunities. All of our early ed programs would accept volunteers. We also work with the child guides on opportunities. There's a Rotary reading program that the child guides organize. There's lunch buddies that the child guides organize. So ability to assist putting folks into the schoolrooms and helping young children is what the majority of our opportunities might be. And just call Community Ed and Rec at 231-8490 if you'd like to do that. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. And thank you, Steve, for your thorough report.
Thanks, Ron.
Give me an example of purchase services. I see there's an amount there for that. What services do you purchase?
Purchase services might be, well, like in the case of Mid-Minnesota Development Commission, we've hired them to do some work for us, so that would be a purchase service.
Such as, I mean, what do you hire them for?
They're going to do the plan. They're going to have the final document of the plan. So they've done all the organization leading up to the pedestrian plan. So in their case, it's the document itself is what much of the purchase service would be for that. We hire a number of agencies throughout the course of the year that might not be an individual but might be a business. So those fees would be paid through the purchase services. Much of that is you saw it in the school budget, so that's the name of it in the school budget. And in the city budget, I think it's professional services is what the code would be there. So like the city world would be, if you're hiring some of the engineering things that have been done, similar to that.
Have we ever run into any liability issues as far as whatever, somebody getting hurt in these sports and then coming after the city or any community ed and rec?
Probably every year there's some type of little claim that comes about, and whether that's a person falling at one of our facilities, like at a football game or something like that. But I can't, Kevin's our loss control person, I can't remember the last claim that we've really had through the city and through the recreational services. It's, knock on wood, it's been pretty pain-free, I guess, from that perspective. But all those folks, all those activities, there are those things that happen. And I think people assume the risk, and they understand that. As long as we're doing our due diligence and providing safe places to do the activities, giving the proper equipment, and then the training, I think you'll see that they're minimized. And I think the aquatic center is probably the biggest example of an area that's got a large amount of risk. When you're putting 300-400 little kids in a pool at any given time, I think it speaks volumes of that we haven't had a serious situation take place there. But any given year, there's a number of saves that take place. Our guards are in the water quite often. But I think that speaks to the dedication that they've got and the training that they've taken to do the job right, and that's to save the kids if they're in need in the water.
Thank you again for your report. It appears that Willmar has a lot to offer in recreation.
I would agree with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Allen?
Thank you, Steve, for your report. I have a question on the expenditures by program on pages here. Public support services, you have secondary counseling and elementary counseling. There's $0 for elementary counseling. Secondary counseling was up substantially from...
Those are actually homeschool dollars that run through the community services account through the school systems in the whole state of Minnesota. So it's not something that's necessarily a program of community ed and rec, but it's a distribution of dollars through the school system that does funnel through community ed and rec services. So homeschoolers get support services from the district, and whether that means textbooks or tests, if you're homeschooling your child, you get some assistance from your local school district to do that. And that's what those dollars would represent.
That was my question. And the other one was the severance. You had $10,000 in the budget for 09-010 on the severance package, and you didn't use any of it.
Our goal was, as we created the budget, was to start creating some severance accounts inside of our program areas of the school budget. Because currently, if you've got a retirement that takes place, I'll use myself as an example. If I retire, there's a small payout that takes place on an annual, that would take place if a retirement did take place, related to, most cases, leave type things that would take place. Well, we've had one retirement, and we had to absorb that in that year's budget. So our goal was to try to create a little bit of a fund balance when we have retirements that will take place. Because typically the school in this system, in the community ed and rec budget, does not budget for that. The school system's got it within their K-12 system, but because we're on the fringes of that, we don't have that within our system. And we've got folks that are my age, or a lot of our folks my age and a little bit younger are going to start hitting that retirement age, and our goal is to put a little bit in there. It's not a large amount when one person goes, but instead of hitting that program's budget that year, in case the budget's already tight, we thought we'd better have a little bit of a fund balance built up. And it didn't work out that way, so what we're doing is just utilizing the fund balance abilities that we've got and paying for severances that way. So
Okay.
that's why it wasn't utilized last year.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? If not, thank you, Steve, for
Thank you
the
all.
report. All right, we'll go to the Finance Committee report for February 28th. Councilmember Anderson.
I wasn't there. Councilmember Fagerly. I'm wondering if I could ask, Jim, you're going to do one report. Councilmember Johnson, would you mind going through the Finance Committee minutes?
No, I'd be happy to. Let me just find my
them?
place here. I got them.
Thank you.
Well, the Finance Committee met at 4:45 p.m. on Monday, February 28th, in conference room 1 in the City Office Building. Item number 1 was a discussion of the public forum opening, and David Herzer urged the city, urged the city to search for innovative ways to reduce spending. John Sullivan also commented on the local option sales tax program. Number 2, there was a suggested amendment to the Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership Agreement. This is for information only. The city administrator, Mick Schmidt, reported to the committee that the Department of Employment and Economic Development conducted a monitoring visit at the city HRA to verify rental housing federal objectives for the West Wind projects were being met. The results indicated no findings or concerns. However, DEED is suggesting the cooperative agreement between Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership and the city be amended to include detailed language specifying that at least 51% of the project units be rented to low to moderate income households per DEED's grant requirements. After considerable discussion, committee members recommended an amendment to the cooperative agreement be referred to the city attorney for further review. Because the monitoring report indicated no current action for the city to take, the matter was received for information only. Item number 3 on the agenda was the Willmar Township fire contracts resolution relating to that. Staff reviewed with the committee the proposed fire protection contract with Willmar Township. The formula used to calculate the amount due from the township is based on information from the previous year, which includes operating costs of the fire department, depreciation of the fire station and equipment, the number of firefighter hours used, and market values of the area covered in Willmar Township. Motion was made and passed with the following recommendation: to introduce a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city administrator to execute the agreement as presented in the amount of $19,301.12.
Second.
We had a resolution that's been introduced and it's been seconded. Questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Aye.
Amon.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Item number 4, staffing budgetary amendments. Staff explained to the committee that the existing custodian maintenance worker position is currently in Class 1. With the recent requirements and reallocation of staff, it is being proposed that this position be changed to a Class 3 due to changes in activities and responsibilities. It was noted that the other existing custodian is in Class 4, which requires higher skills. After considerable discussion, it was moved, or a motion was made and seconded for the following recommendation: to make a motion to refer this matter back to the Labor Committee. Staff explained to the committee that the 3 employees in the police department require changes in health insurance coverage from single to family, and as a result, the budget needs to be amended by decreasing salaries and increasing insurance by $26,262. Following discussion, it was recommended to introduce a resolution amending the police department budget by decreasing salaries and increasing insurance in the amount of $26,262.
Second. So do we have a motion first?
Should.
Yeah.
We have two motions.
Well, the first one's a motion, the second one's a resolution, but the first one's a motion, so I would look for a second on that first motion.
Second.
Discussion. Councilmember Allen.
Question. I don't believe there was, I didn't see anything, I was not on the committee, but is there a breakdown as to what the cost contribution is for once an individual has a family insurance policy, what that annual cost was? Is that in there?
That's not the motion we're talking about. That'll be the second one.
We're talking the referral to the Labor Committee.
Oh.
The
sorry, I jumped ahead of myself.
So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. The next one is the resolution for amending the police department budget, decreasing salaries, increasing insurance by $26,262.
Second.
Well, anybody may, yeah, Tim, you would have introduced.
Yeah, I introduced that
okay,
yeah.
earlier. Okay, we got the second. All right. Discussion? Member Christensen.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. In light of the fact that we have a what we call a pay freeze, isn't this a hike in pay, or isn't this a pay increase? I mean, technically.
You have a contractual obligation to
I understand.
cover the two different family single breakdowns, and we can bring that to labor to clarify you. It's a very nice chart we have that laid it out, but marital status opens up a different opportunity.
I understand. Well, if we could discuss that in labor sometime, I think that'd be great, because it appears to the public, and I've had a couple of people call me and ask, wasn't that a pay increase? Because technically it is. I mean, if I gave it to one of my employees, I would consider it an increase. But as long as we can discuss it in labor, that'd be fine.
Councilmember Rahman.
Same question. Those items, I guess, the breakdown, if we could put that on the Labor Relations Committee meeting, at the same time we can discuss it then. That was my point for asking the question previously. Thank you.
Okay, we've got the resolution, and it's been seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Amon.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Item number 5 on the agenda dealt with deferred assessments. Staff provided information regarding current deferred suspense assessments, which are either on properties located outside the city limits or that are senior citizen deferred. It was being recommended that deferred suspense assessments from projects in 1969 and 1970 be written off because they are now beyond useful life, which in this case is 40 years.
Second.
Want me to?
All right, we got that's a resolution. All right, we got a resolution that was introduced and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amon.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 6, establish public works infrastructure financing. Staff reviewed with the committee the proposed discussion a year ago with the council to establish a public works infrastructure financing plan to help accelerate the repair and reconstruction of city streets within the next 5-year period. This plan would utilize the present utility replacement fee, which generates approximately $400,000 annually, to pay the entire city's share of debt service costs. The schedule would start paying in the year 2011 and continue to increase until the $400,000 annually would be obligated. Using this plan would allow time for the Community Investment Fund to rebound. And it was moved, seconded, and passed for recommendation to introduce such a resolution, which I will introduce.
Second.
Got a resolution and a second. Mick, you want to speak to this a little bit?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I think some of the council members had asked that we just briefly go back and review what was being proposed in 2010 for the benefit of the council members that weren't there. And you'll recall that under that program, we had put together a concept that involved using the $4 utility fee to accelerate and maintain or sustain public improvements, initiating a financing mechanism. And essentially what we were talking about at the time was replacing the interest earnings that we were no longer accumulating through the community investment program. So we wanted to find a way to get back on track with the street reconstruction program. We talked about a concept that would designate those utility funds over a period of 15 years to help support that effort. And we were also suggesting that there would be no additional new fees or taxes associated with the reconstruction program, that it was pretty much a self-supporting program. We put together this worksheet to give you an example of how the program would work. And the $400,000 in 2010 represents the utility fee. We had a project in 2010. We sold a bond issue in 2010, but the debt service actually is taking place beginning in 2011. So the 2010 dollars would earn interest. We did our initial calculations based on 4% interest earnings, but have since, for our purposes now, reduced the interest earnings to 2% to more accurately, I think, reflect what's going on and what's likely to happen over a period of years. So that money, that $408,000, rolls over to 2011, producing a dedicated fund of $808,000, from which we're going to subtract the debt service payments due on the 2010 project. And then this leaves a balance of $728, which earns interest, and we just keep moving through the system. And the program that we had put together was assuming that in any given year we would have in the neighborhood of $700,000 to $800,000 worth of city costs associated with the construction activity. And then you can see that the schedule plays out over that 15-year period of time, and this $2,625,000 number is actually a reduction from what we were estimating last year to be $3 million based on 4% earnings. So you can see over the life of the program, we're losing a bit of interest there. I don't know, maybe the economy will turn around and our interest earnings will pick up over time, and that number will increase. So that's generally the program. I think, too, we also pointed out in our original projections that there would be enough money in the dedicated fund after a period of 9 years to retire all of the debt associated with the program. I mentioned that we were looking at an estimated participation on the part of the city in the neighborhood of $700,000 to $800,000 annually. That's kind of the number then we would be able to give to the Public Works Department as it structured its programs for the coming years. It's a little easier to plan if we know what kind of money that we're dealing with. We were also suggesting that as a part of this program, the City Council adopt a policy of no deferred assessments. So in other words, we would have to come up with 100% of the projects, either through the public funds assessments to benefited property owners, developer participation. If they had some projects they would need to take care of their responsibilities, or combinations of all of those, which actually happens every year. We put a program together. And really one of the other benefits, because we would not be touching our community investment fund, is that it would allow that program to rebound and build up a balance, because right now it is woefully short in terms of not only being able to do projects now and into the future, but to satisfy current debt that has been sold over the years to retire our bond issues. Here's a summary of what's left under our community investment fund obligations. So you can see that as time goes by, whoops, wrong button. David, there you go. As time goes by, our obligations are reduced significantly. And then if you put the proposed dedicated fund up against that, you'll see that this program should rebound rather nicely. And once we retire the debt from the proposed program, we can jump right back into the community investment program, or you may choose to use those capital dollars for other purposes as time goes by.
Okay.
This is our schedule. I know that further down on the agenda, Holly's going to talk a little bit about our improvement program, but this is, I'm putting a schedule up here because, you know, we need to make a decision on our financing program and lock it in, because absent that, then we're going to only be able to do what our cash allows us to do in any given year. And it's going to significantly reduce our ability to do various improvement projects.
We need to stay the course.
Pardon?
I say we need to stay the course on our improvement projects, or our infrastructure is going to continue to deteriorate. All right. Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about this like last summer or fall. Didn't we adopt this policy then?
No, we
didn't.
didn't.
We just took it all for information?
Yes.
Okay. Well, certainly the consensus, I think, of the council was that this seemed like a good proposal.
I thought that was the consensus as well, but we just never did never passed the appropriate resolution to establish it as a dedicated fund.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I want to thank you for maintaining the community investment fund, looking for different alternatives. But we're making a big decision here to commit for the future years the utilities payment in lieu of taxes funds to a dedicated amount. That's good and then it's bad. More pro than con. But I just want to say thank you for doing it. I'm a little reserved about it, not knowing what speculatively might happen on the payback of this, and that's right now everything you presented is an estimate based on a 4% return. I understand that, but there is a little bit of I'm a little hesitant in some regards to accept it, not knowing what the future is, but we'll have to deal with it as it comes. We can always change it or revise it if something doesn't work out. But I commend you and Steve and Kevin for and the council for doing this to maintain that community investment fund. I think it's very worthwhile.
Steve, that doesn't have anything to do with the payment in lieu of taxes. It's
Well,
the utility replacement fee.
Well, I know it isn't, but in a way, we're dedicating the funds to certain things. You look at the overall budget, there's different sources of revenue that we depend on. In a way, we're dedicating that to a specific fund. So it's it's narrowing our options for revising the budget to a certain degree. It's dedicating the funds.
Well, it's kind of like the Community Investment Fund when we started out with that many years ago. It started as a relatively low number, but we were earning some maybe unusually high rates of return on our investments, and we were able to do a lot of projects. But the City Council passed or set up that dedicated fund, and it's really tight. I mean, you can't get at it. Today, it probably rests in the neighborhood of $9 million. I wonder how much of that $9 million would be there had we not dedicated it and it had gone for other purposes over the years. Thereby, you know, it may have funded really great projects, but it would have severely limited our ability to do street reconstruction programs and other public improvements.
Thank you, Maggie, you're right. I think the community doesn't realize what we have here. It's a great way of maintaining or holding on to our revenue, using the interest to help keep down the cost of street construction costs or to their expense, and help pay for the improvements, and that it's a good fund.
Councilmember Bleak.
I guess, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I guess that was my question, or that the fund that we're talking about here, the utility replacement fee, that there's a fee that is charged to all utility customers and not in lieu of taxes that the utility pays to the city. Correct?
Those utility fees are in place currently, yes.
Councilmember Dockin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you for giving the report again, Mick. The only question I have is there any requirement for us to hold a public hearing on this, or can we, as a council, just do this?
I don't know that it formally requires a public hearing. We're just simply taking a revenue source that we're already collecting and we're dedicating it for a specific purpose.
Okay.
Any other questions? We have a resolution, and it's been seconded to adopt the Public Works Infrastructure Financing Plan. Roll call.
Councilmember Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amman.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 7 was an investment policy modification for Rice Hospital. Staff explained to the committee that Rice Hospital has requested authority to purchase investments at a premium in order to obtain a higher interest rate. It was being recommended that the city's investment policy, Part 4.1, safety, be revised by removing the following language. And I quote, "Furthermore, the purchase of securities at an amount in excess of the stated par value will not be allowed," end quote. Motion was made, seconded, and passed to introduce a resolution modifying the investment policy by removing the last sentence in Part 4.1 as above stated, and I would introduce that resolution at this time.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the resolution. Questions? Councilmember Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Seems to me that we just added that language, am I right, within the last year or so?
No, sir.
No?
It has been a long time, and I'm going to go, without knowing, over a decade. When I first came here to purchase investments, we were buying things at a premium and just taking the best comparable price, the way the math worked out.
All right.
And terminated for that long.
My mistake. I thought we did something about a year ago. No problem.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I think that was with regard, wasn't it, to an investment policy for the city itself and not Rice Hospital, that we made a modification. I don't think it was identical to this, but I think that's what Councilman Anderson is thinking about.
Well, generally, Rice follows our investment policy, so we are stripping out of the city's investment policy. And then both myself as treasurer and Bill Fensky as CFO will be purchasing investments at a premium, should the mathematics work out.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Councilmember DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amon.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 8, the committee received the December 31, 2010 Rice Memorial Hospital report, and that matter was for information only. Item 9 dealt with future agenda items. Finance Director Okins reviewed future agenda items with the committee, including local option sales tax, capital appropriations report, and growth issue referred back by council. And that matter was also for information only.
Okay. Questions? Filing the minutes?
Nope. Yeah, I'd move to it. If there's no questions, I'd move to file those minutes.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We then go to the Community Development Committee. Councilmember Dockin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. The Community Development Committee meeting met on Thursday, March 3rd, 2011 in Conference Room 1. Item number 1, public comments. This is for information only. Chair Dockin asked for public comments. John Sullivan expressed his concern about the time it is taking for the Planning Commission to complete its review and revisions to the zoning ordinance, specifically sections dealing with planned unit developments and the role of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Laura Becker also stated that she was hopeful the agenda included a discussion of the terminal building at the former airport site. Item number 2, Economic Development Commission update. Again, it was for information only, but Mr. Rehnquist is here this evening. I recognized Executive Director Steve Rehnquist, who was present to review with the committee the recently adopted goals and objectives and the work plan of the Economic Development Commission. Mr. Rehnquist included in his presentation a report on the implications of current demographic data and economic development activities which were considered in developing the agency's work plan. The 5-year goals 2011 to 2015 included 1, continuing efforts to maintain and expand businesses in Kandiyohi County. 2, assisting Rice Memorial Hospital in strengthening its position as a regional hospital. 3, filling an additional 50% of Midwest Technology Center. 4, developing new opportunities for cooperation with similar agencies. And 5, the successful commercialization of 2 renewable energy projects and expansion of 3 value-added agricultural businesses. And item 6, achieving a 50% increase in local airport utilization. Mr. Rehnquist concluded this portion of his presentation by briefly reviewing the work plans of various committee structures with the organization. And I think, Mayor Pro Tem, that Mr. Rehnquist is here to go through that tonight, if you would allow him.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rehnquist.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, members of the audience, staff, guests. The Economic Development Commission has an extensive work plan. I was asked if I could put it together with a PowerPoint presentation based on current economic development demographics and statistics for the county and the city. And in the intervening time since the Development Committee presentation, we were unable to get new data, new information. And I fear that most of the information that we might present tonight would be repetitive of majority of previous information the council and staff and members of the audience have received. So as I go on in my presentation tonight, I'm going to ask you to come back the 21st. And the presentation could be then, or it could be any other time prior to the end of June when the EDC has its annual budgetary planning meeting. And it would be wise if we had the city's input on our efforts before that time. But if it's all right, again, Mr. Pro Tem and Council, I'm entirely prepared to go over the EDC's work plan and objectives, and I can review much of the same information that I gave the Development Committee the other night. But I would prefer to give an all-new presentation at a later date, if that's okay with the Council.
That's fine.
Thank you. What I do have, Council Member Dockin, may I go right into the Job Z modifications that we're requesting? Would you like to introduce that, sir, or could I?
Are we talking about item number 3, the next item that comes
Yes.
up on the agenda? I probably should read that first. Okay, item number 3, Midwest Technology Campus update. It's a motion and a resolution. Mr. Rehnquist presented to the committee an update on development activities at Midwest Technology Campus, highlighting the fact that the campus now houses some 20 companies totaling nearly 300 employees. Citing the arrival of a new company, Mr. Rehnquist requested authorization from the committee to grant Job Z status to an additional campus building in order to accommodate the business. It was noted that the property in question is covered under a previous approved property tax abatement program. A motion was made and seconded for the following. Recommendation is approve the request to grant Job Z status to an additional Midwest Technology Campus building.
I'll second that.
Yeah, we got a motion and a second. Mr. Rehnquist, did you want to make additional comments on this?
If I could, just for brief information for the council and members of the listening audience, Tenex will be the county's and the Midwest Technology Campus's first medical device company. It makes a product that breaks down through use of ultrasonic wave energy, breaks down scar tissue in joints, muscles, and ligaments, and then extracts that scar tissue from the body. It has all FDA and all governmental approvals, and we've just recently did our first angel investor effort, raised over $1 million in this area to help fund this startup company. We've also raised close to another $1 million in borrowed money from institutions that the EDC usually uses. We're quite proud of this. There will be no new dollar consequences to the city of Willmar, Canandaigua County, or to the school district because of this. This property is already in the Job Z zone approved to the Midwest Technology Campus, and but we have to add each company in individually. So we're requesting information to do that at this time.
Oh, in front of you is a request to grant Job Z status for this new business. We have a motion and a second, I believe. So, Councilmember Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Does this have any effect on the tax abatement?
No.
None? It's just we're granting them Job Z.
It's already abated, right?
Yeah,
That is correct, Mick and Councilmember Christensen.
Okay. That was it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Rehnquist, is this company locked in? Are they coming for sure, or is it contingent on us doing this and some other things, or what's their status? Can you tell us?
They are coming to Willmar.
Terrific. I mean, that really is an accomplishment.
Because this, the medical device, we hope this is the start of, well, we'll just say several more medical device companies, some which we're already in conversation with.
Great. Anything else? And this is a simple motion, I believe, Kevin?
Standard motion. They're not all simple.
Yeah, no, they're not. You got that right. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, is Mr. Rehnquist going to tell us the next one?
Yep, we've got two more. The second request from Mr. Rehnquist was presented to the committee with recent developments with regard to Willmar Fabrication and its participation in the Industrial Park Job Z program. Pending agreements call for a Canadian equipment manufacturer to assume a major portion of the Willmar fabrication business, and in order to accommodate the purchase, existing Job Z credits will need to be transferred, and so there was a motion for that. The recommendation is to the council pass a resolution authorizing that the Job Z authorization be transferred as presented, and that the city administrator be authorized to sign the amended Job Z business subsidy agreement.
Second.
Here we got a motion and a second. Mr. Rehnquist, did you want to make comment on this also?
Just that they're a major agricultural equipment manufacturer. We're not trying to be coy by not mentioning their name. For those that wish to Google Versatile Tractors, that's one of their product lines. They're out of Winnipeg. This will be the people at Deed in the state of Minnesota are excited about our acquiring this company. This isn't just have local significance. This will be their third manufacturing plant in the United States, and we see this as a big plus. They'll be retaining 54 jobs that they presently have. They'll be purchasing the building and majority of the equipment from Willmar Manufacturing, but not the business. They will be also purchasing some of the product lines. All I can say is in a similar acquisition in Salem, South Dakota, they're now up to 200 employees after starting with a similar number around 50. So we're hoping for the type of employment and output that company and that building used to put out would be very nice to see again. That'll be tied to the next request. As we get into the next request, I'll develop that more. There is no tax consequence or cost consequence to the city of Willmar. The building already is in the Job Z program, and interestingly enough, when Willmar Fabrication moves to a new building, they do not get to take the Job Z with them. That'll be included in the next request, as to be a transference of their Job Z to the new company. So there would be no new additional cost consequences out of this portion of my request tonight to the city of Willmar, to the county, or to the school district.
It's kind of a fun night for you, isn't it?
We're not done yet. It might get more interesting in a bit here, sir.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So this is a resolution?
Right.
And we have that introduced and seconded. Any other questions? One, Councilmember DeBleek.
One, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. But now this company is buying a building which is currently in Job Z's.
Correct.
program?
Correct.
Just transferring the job, city authorization to the new company, that doesn't change anything with the tax status or anything on the building that they're currently buying, is it correct?
It does not, Councilmember DeBleek. And for the council and audience's information, the Job Z program terminates December 31st, 2015, which seemed like a long time 10 years ago, but doesn't seem so long anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Rehnquist.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Councilmember Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amon.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. The third request, Mr. Rehnquist explained that the equipment manufacturing retained by Willmar Fabrication will shift operations to other properties and requested council approval to authorize the transfer of Job Z authorization to those properties along Trott Avenue in the Industrial Park and along 19th Avenue Southwest at the former Pepsi Production Distribution Center. And I would move that motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Mr. Rehnquist, did you want to?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, members of the audience, this is the second part of the Canadian equipment manufacturer's purchase of the building and equipment of Willmar Fabrication. Willmar Fabrication would have to move. They're moving their manufacturing portion of their property to 2209 Trott Avenue Southwest, which is the industrial property directly across Trott Avenue from the West Central Tribune. That would be the manufacturing portion of their work. They're moving the. They have tentative agreement, subject to the Job Z and the coming together. They have tentative agreement to move the assembly portion of their building to 2400 19th Avenue Southwest, which you will know is the Burnix property. Now, neither of these properties are presently in the Job Z program. And Mr. Clausen, if he were here tonight, would tell you that all he's asking for is only what he had before. He had property that was in the Job Z program, and if only the state would allow him to transfer that Job Z to these new properties, it would have been the Canadian equipment manufacturer that I would be coming before you tonight asking for Job Z rather than for Mr. Clausen and his Willmar Fabrication business. He's moving the most profitable portion of his business, that manufactures equipment that goes primarily to the cotton industry in southern U.S. In fact, he has been courted by some southern U.S. cities to move his operations down there. If approved, the consequence to the city, and Mr. Dock and I gave the committee too high of a figure the other night. I included the county taxes in that figure. The consequences to the city are right at $12,000 total, just under $12,000, much less than the $30,000 that we talked the other night, and that's per year. And it would be for what residual there would be for 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and before the program expires. He would be keeping 15 employees, and he would be under Job Z requirements to hire at least 5 more. He hopes to be in excess of that, but that would be the requirements that the program would have. The interesting part to all this, and I'll repeat for the second time, that all he's asking for is that which he had before. But the contract agreement between the Canadian manufacturer and the Willmar Fabrication requires that both properties at the end of when all the contracts are signed, each have Job Z, or the agreements are null and void.
Okay, so this is the,
And at this time, I'm asking for no action on this. This is for information purposes. If the city council is agreeable, I'll come back at your next city council meeting, and at that point, I'm going to ask for, because once you start new Job Z programs, you need public hearings. We're going to have to transfer acreage. There's a variety of things that we're going to have to do. So that portion is at this evening. I'm here for information purposes only. This will give individual members, should they want to call me or stop in the office and get more information on this and why the EDC recommends this, and that people may want their own individual due diligence time, and I encourage them to do so if they wish.
okay, thank you. Councilmember Dockin?
So a question on that. The only additional Job Z requirement would be the additional 5 employees from when this would be approved until 2015. Is that correct?
That's the state's minimum requirement, that is 5. Mr. Clausen hopes to be hiring more than that, but the state's minimum requirement is 5 employees.
So there are no other specific requirements?
Well, he'll have to, they're allowing him, because of the sale of the building and the equipment, and the retention of 54 jobs at the present Willmar fabrication facility, they're allowing him to move a scaled down, leaner company over to these new sites.
So there is no third action then tonight? You're going to come back at us?
There is not at this time. I will talk to the city administrator and to the clerk and I'm announcing it to you, and I would ask to come back, I believe, the 21st, and at that point call for a public hearing to move this process forward.
There's no action to be taken on the transfer of the Job Z authorization?
For the third item, there is not.
But are you looking for some direction from the council tonight?
I'm
to proceed.
I needed to cover the first 2 steps, and this third step was simply informational only.
So withdraw the motion and the second, please.
Did we have the motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. And who was seconded?
I'll withdraw the second then. It's not necessary then, the motion.
Well, at this time, before the public hearing, it would all have to be replicated later, Councilmember Christensen, because none of it can officially happen until after the public hearing.
Okay. One question, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you. You said they're moving partially into the Pepsi building. They're not taking the whole thing?
They would be leasing approximately 90% of the building.
Okay, but does the entire building become Job Z?
The request, it is our intent, is that we come to you with that 90% of the building would go into the Job Z program.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember DeBleek?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Steve, just clarification on the process here now. Does this need to be approved by the other taxing jurisdictions, that these 2 properties, the one in the industrial park and the one on 19th Avenue, before they go into the Job Z program?
A new Job Z venture will have to go through the school district and the county as well. That is correct.
Are they also required to hold public hearings?
It is only the city that has to have the public hearing, and that is only on transferring the Job Z acres from the existing, what I'm going to call the airport industrial park we'd probably move, going to be right at a 50,000 square foot, so just over an acre we'd probably move out of the remaining 100 and I believe 86 acres the city has available.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Ronning. Are both of you comfortable with what we're doing on this third item tonight, then?
I am, yes. I mean, he's not.
And I am
asking.
also, yes. Okay, thank you. Item 4, then. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Vacant homes, utility shutoffs for information only. City building official Cardell was present to provide the committee with an update on the status of vacant homes and utility shutoffs throughout the community. Responding to a request to identify and inspect vacant properties, staff cross-checked with the Willmar Municipal Utilities for delinquent utility fees. Findings suggest that there may be as many as 99 vacant homes throughout the city and that at least 10 occupied without water service. Following discussion, it was the consensus of the group that building officials should act under existing state law and city ordinances to verify and pursue action to ensure the safety of any inhabitants. This matter was for information only, and I would ask Mr. Schmidt, is there anything that has come up since this meeting?
No.
Okay. Jim, just 1 second. Mr. Rehnquist, thank you for being here tonight. And okay.
Thank you. Item 5, mobile home park updates for information only. Building official Cardell provided the committee with a mobile home park update, noting that both parks are now roughly 50% occupied. Work continues with owners and the management to address health and safety issues and to remove units deemed not suitable for habitation. This matter was for information only, and I'll mention, I'm sure you saw it, that in the building inspection report that 2 of the 14 items that were on that for last month were the demolition of 2 mobile homes out in the East Trailer Park. Item 6, zoning ordinance enforcement of exterior storage, and this is a motion. Building official Cardell initiated a discussion regarding zoning ordinance enforcement of exterior storage throughout the city. Mr. Cardell discussed district court concerns whereby violations currently charged as misdemeanors place a hardship on the court system. Many result in expensive and time-consuming jury trials. The courts have requested that the city consider reducing first-time exterior storage violations to a petty misdemeanor. Following discussion of the merits of such a change and the need for exterior public relations efforts for spring cleanup activities, a motion was made and seconded to make the following. The recommendation is that the city attorney be directed to draft appropriate ordinance revisions for introduction at a public hearing. And I would move that motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion? Not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7, former airport terminal status update for information only. City Administrator Schmidt advised the committee that he had received a phone call from the keeper of the National Registry advising the city a letter would be forthcoming explaining the reasons for the registrar's determination that the former airport terminal building was to be considered eligible for the National Registry of Historic Places. Further comment was reserved pending receipt and review of the findings, and this was for information only also. Item 8, miscellany for information. Committee members requested future updates on the 2010 census data and the county's recycling program. If there are no further questions, I would move to file these minutes.
A motion and a second. Questions? Councilmember Christian?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Did we find anything out on the census as far as where Willmar's standing? Any information at all?
April.
In April we're going to get it?
That's some comments that it'll come in April.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Pro Tem?
Yes. Councilmember.
Question of the city administrator, the letter from the keeper of the National Register, has that letter been received yet?
No.
At what point did the 45 days that they were going to respond to us come into play? At the receipt of the letter or when they...
By my calculations, it expired even before I got the phone call. So that's one of the issues we're looking into.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Anybody else? Is that it, Bruce?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next item is the 2011 street and other improvements, and if you recall the last meeting, we didn't have 7 council members here to consider the resolution but for the benefit of the public and maybe a few council members, Holly will give us a brief overview of it before we even take any action. So, Holly?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. This will be a shortened version of last council meeting's presentation. Sorry. I'm just going to go through our proposed projects for, there you go, for 2011. We had 1.53 miles of reconstruction and the same for overlay. Those streets for reconstruction would include 6th Avenue Northwest, Voss Park area, which includes 33rd Street Northwest, 31st Street Northwest, 1st Avenue Northwest, 2nd Avenue Northwest, 3rd Avenue Northwest, and Voss Park Drive. Also for reconstruction would be the state aid project on Gorton Avenue from 10th Street to 14th Street. That's about 0.28 miles of reconstruction. Then we also have 11.5 Avenue Southeast from 6th Street to 9th Street. And the other last state aid project would be 15th Avenue Southwest, 22nd Street to 700 feet east. And that is basically to help with some of our stormwater issues in that area. Then our overlay projects was 7th Street Southwest. That's about a half a mile of overlay. And so that was where the water main was replaced last year, and this is the overlay portion of that in conjunction with the county. And that's from 19th Avenue to Willmar Avenue. We also are proposing to overlay Becker Avenue southeast from 1st Street to Lakeland Drive. That's about a mile of overlay in that area. And we will be replacing some water main in the area of 6th to 13th. For miscellaneous projects, we have the path construction along 22nd Avenue, right here in front of the stadium. We're kind of missing a link there. We have the 1st Street bridge deck rehabilitation, and then our annual crack sealing, seal coating, and any stormwater improvements that we see would be beneficial. This is our project schedule. We had the improvement hearing last council meeting on the 22nd. With this schedule, we need to do the bid opening in mid-April, the assessment hearing in May, hoping to award the bid in late June, June 20th, and begin construction in July with the end of the construction in November. And our estimated costs at this time is about $2.4 million, with $1.6 million of that being reconstruction, about $676,000 in overlay, and $65,000 in miscellaneous projects. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. So I'll take questions and then we'll go from there.
And I would, as I recall, that in the hearing, we had a number of people, residents, that asked questions, but nobody really ever spoke against any part of the project.
That's correct.
So, any questions? We need 7 affirmative votes here this evening.
If I may, we need to consider 2 resolutions tonight. One would be for ordering the improvements and directing the preparation on the plans and specs, and the other would be approving the plans and specs and authorizing the ad for bids.
The first one is a resolution ordering the improvements and directing preparation of plans and specs.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. This is a resolution. Questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Christensen.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Amman.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
The second one would be adopting the resolution on plans and specs.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Aye.
Amman.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Dockin.
Aye.
DeBleek.
Aye.
Reese.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Was that it? Was there one more? No. That's it? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Holly. Committee meeting dates. Finance.
Finance will meet Monday, the 14th at 4:45.
Labor Relations.
Nothing scheduled to date.
Community Development.
Community Development will meet at 4:45 on the 17th of March. Conference Room 1.
And Public Works Safety will meet Tuesday, the 15th at 4:45. Any miscellaneous? Councilmember Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Just a quick question, since we were talking about the streets and street improvement. I'm wondering if there's any plan or special plan in attacking these roads when spring breaks here, with all the, it seems to me this year we've had more damage to our streets and potholes than I've ever seen in my years living here. There's just all over the place. Do we try to do that as a city? I mean, does Public Works do all of that, or do we hire it out to get it sped up and get it done? Or and since there's so many, man, we'll probably be fixing the last ones in September, October.
Go ahead.
Typically, the Public Works Department does do the majority of the patching unless some of the patches are too large for their crews.
Okay.
We've hired private contractors in the past, and we're working with MnDOT to see if we can get some help out on East Highway 12. So anytime we're dealing with state aid streets, we would also visit with the other taxing jurisdictions or governmental entities.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous? Everybody's looking for a motion. Oh, Kevin?
Just a reminder that the Charter Commission did submit their first draft to you for consideration, and they would like to have feedback within 2 council meetings, and if that feedback is a work session again, that we would call it at that point.
You looking for scheduling one tonight, or?
No, sir, just a reminder to spend some time on it.
Okay. All right, thank you for the reminder. Councilmember Anderson?
No.
No?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Favor, get up and leave. We are adjourned.